Welcome back. This is Ethan from 115 Gaming, your home for all the tips and tools you need to improve your matches of 6 Siege the board game. This week, we're diving back into the additional gadgets found in the player's tactical inventory boards. This is the second part. Last time we looked at the attacker gadgets. Today, we'll be breaking down the defender's inventory. We're going to be looking at each gadget, determining what it does, its overall usefulness, and example scenarios for when you should use them. Let's get started. Fortified hatches. Every game, there will be 2 fortified hatches already placed on the map. These are part of the 5 elements of the game board you are allowed to remove or rearrange in your prep phase. They require a red level destruction action to destroy. They are placed on entryway spaces and completely block access between the upper and main floors of the map while they are in play. These are the definition of a double-edged sword. On one hand, they block hot entryway spots that the attackers now have to spend actions/utility to get through, allowing you to focus your defense elsewhere. On the other hand, they also block your access between the 2 floors as well, and unlike the attacker, the defenders have 0 red level destruction gadgets/abilities across their entire roster, meaning it is highly likely that you can screw yourself over as much as the attacker when you place these. When we first started playing, our instinct was to always put these on entryway spots in the sight room. However, as JB, one of the developers of the board game, pointed out in a comment on our Defender Guide video, this can actually give the attacker an advantage if they take the sight room and now you have no way to rotate back into the sight through that hatch. It all just kind of depends on the kind of setup you want. There's no definitive way to use these. You can block the sight spaces, or you could block the other hot entryway spaces around the map instead, like the stairwell hatchway on Consulate. It's also not a terrible idea to remove the hatches completely, and to instead rely on Overwatch for your entryway defense. Anything is viable here, so it's up to you to experiment and see what kind of setups you like. Just always be aware that you are blocking your own access to these spots, as well as the attacker. Barbed wire. Barbed wire is another gadget placed in the setup phase. It is also another element that starts on the map and is a part of your 5 slots of removal/rearrangement. These are bulletproof and require a yellow level of destruction to be destroyed. These block movement for drones and enemy operators. Any attacking operators who walk into a barbed wire immediately ends their entire activation, not just movement. The common place for these to be put would naturally be near windows or doorways. And while this isn't necessarily a bad thing, remember that a lot of attacker gadgets can destroy those easily when breaching. This is still decent since it does require attacker utility. However, we recommend trying some different deployment spots, like narrow hallways or walkways that absolutely force the attacker to waste time to move around or destroy. Places like the stairwell hallway on Consulate, or maybe the spaces around easily accessible entryway tokens. Remember to not place them in spots that the attacker can move diagonally around. You want to put them in spots that force the attacker to either destroy or move around. Just like reinforced hatchways, experiment with different setups and see what works best for each map. Cameras. Cameras are another gadget placed in the setup phase. It is also another element that starts on the map and is a part of your 5 slots of removal/rearrangement. These are electronic and require a yellow level of destruction to be destroyed. Anytime an opposing operator enters space in a room containing a camera, or ending an action in one, receives the located condition. Cameras are great because they're a prime way of wasting the attacker's action and utility. These are okay in the sight rooms, but they're best in the rooms where the attacker has to enter the building from, or in the rooms around the sight rooms. What's great about these is the attacker will have to waste their time and actions to destroy those before moving into a room, which is great because 1, they waste attacker resources, and 2, they telegraph which rooms the attacker wants to push, allowing you to readjust your defense accordingly. Also, remember to place them in positions that are out of easy line of sight of a window or doorway, making it even harder for the attacker to destroy without using more effort and resources. You don't want them to be able to shoot the cameras from outside easily. Bulletproof cameras. Everything about the regular camera applies here, except that these have the bulletproof rating, and thus require the operator to be adjacent or use a gadget to destroy it. Deployable Shields. Deployable Shields is yet another gadget placed in the setup phase. These are bulletproof and require an orange level of destruction to be destroyed. These are extra obstacles that you can place around the map, giving you light cover when you are shot at from behind them. This is another double-edged sword, because these can help give you cover, but they can also help give the attacker cover as well. There are 2 ways to use these. 1, as cover for your operators, or 2, as obstacles that waste attacker movement/utility/actions. You can either place them in front of your operators for light cover, which is okay in certain situations, or you can place them in common hallways and doorways, which force the attacker to spend extra movement going over them, or forcing them to waste destruction actions or gadgets to destroy them. We think the latter is the best way to use them. Light cover isn't especially reliable to keep your operator alive, but something that wastes the attacker's time and actions is always a good thing. Nitro Cells. Finally, we're out of the section with setup gadgets, and onto the 2 throwable gadgets you can use during the game. Nitro Cells are a more powerful version of the attacker's frag grenade. They are throwable that inflicts 2 orange damage to the target space and 1 orange damage to the adjacent spaces. With a 2 orange damage rating, it is more possible to use Nitro Cells to kill an operator in one go. However, it's still not the most reliable thing to attempt. We recommend using these as gunfight finishers, just like the attacker's frag grenades. However, if you can find a situation where the attackers are grouped up in adjacent spots, never waste the opportunity to damage multiple operators in one go. This can be brutal for the attacker's push if he wanders into this mistake, making multiple operators either dead or super weak.
Actually, you know what I'm going to do? That's why I have this gadget. I'm going to use a Nitro Cell. Yep. 2 orange damage to an operator in a space, and 1 orange die to any operators in adjacent spaces. So the thermite, it deals 6 damage.
Nice.
IQ, it does 2 damage.
That's fair. I'll take that.
Not bad, not bad.
Another thing to remember is that you can throw Nitro Cells through smoke and gas overlays, which can allow you to attack an operator even if your opponent thinks he's safe through a smoke. Nitro Cells are super useful for denying an attacker grouping up and for countering a smoke grenade push. And with a good roll, you can deal 6 damage in 1 Nitro Cell, which will kill any operator. These are never a bad choice, and a situation to use one will often come up. Impact grenades. Impact grenades are a throwable that performs the orange level destruction action in the targeted space. These are used for 2 things. 1, making rotation pathways, and 2, getting the drop on an operator. More often these will be used for the former, but if the opportunity arises where the attacker has put his back to a soft wall, never waste that opportunity. Always having at least 1 impact grenade in the pocket in order to get a faster rotation or flank on an opponent is always good to have as a possibility in the game. Not bringing one leaves you subject to only the walls the attacker has opened, so bring these to be able to rotate your roamers back to the site quickly and in a pinch, or to open up a new sight line on the site the attacker didn't see coming, like the back wall in the center sight room on Consulate. Impact grenades are one of the most reliable and useful gadgets you can bring on defense. That's it for the list of defender gadgets in the tactical inventory. We hope both these videos have been helpful for you, and that now you have a better idea of the ways to use these gadgets to your advantage. We're still working on our operator breakdown series, as well as our additional gameplay and analysis videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.